If you have any kids, settle them down.
Things are getting serious now.
This is absolutely beautiful, Tom Christie. I've never seen anything like it. 3 stalls, clean floor, air conditioner. I had to boil my shoes after last night's outhouse. That is incredible. That is, it's awesome. And all the kissing, I mean, I haven't been kissed since our wedding, so I see all that. It's awesome. This is an honor to speak here. There's obviously a lot of quantity to pick from, less quality, more quantity. Jimmy had to pick between the most successful, the most intelligent, the most athletic brother, and he went with the school teacher. But being a school teacher, I was around them growing up. I could have predicted in about 2017, 2018, that this day was coming, even when they were 14 years old. I knew it from our car rides back from Cold Spring to Kimball. Jimmy was head over heels in love with Tori the first time he met her, really he was. And I always knew this day was coming. At the time I was 23 years old. I was living with Jimmy, and I knew at that time that this was a match made in heaven. And I'm so happy that this finally happened. Right away from the beginning, I knew Jimmy had, as my grandpa would say, Jesus Christ, Jimmy, outkicked your coverage with that hot chick. And he did. She looks awesome. Jimmy looks pretty good too. Jimmy looks good too. About me and Jimmy, our history, we met in the early 2000s. We had a great childhood. I'm about 10 or 11 years older than Jimmy. At the time, it was a wonderful time in our lives. St. John's had just won a national championship. My family moved to a beautiful country lot in Becker. And then Jimmy came along, and you know, I was 11, 10 years old, so I was already kind of into all the boys were busy. We were always really busy. And so Jimmy just kind of grew up coming to all of our sports games. So at the time we're kind of getting to high school. Joey was busy studying and doing bicep curls. Tommy was pissing people off on social media. Robbie, I don't know, Robbie was there somewhere too. I was running away from all the Becker females' dads. But no, it was a busy life and it was a great life. Jimmy just kind of grew up coming to all of our sports games all the time. And he never complained, he never asked for anything. And you know, the sad truth is we never really got to go to Jimmy's games. We were in varsity sports at the time. Jimmy never really complained, he was always there, kind of our biggest fan the whole way through. And typical Jimmy, he never complained about anything. But in the rare downtime that he wasn't coming to our games, we loved having a little brother. Probably no one more than Joey. Quick story, I'm going to tell a story about Jimmy and my brothers as we go down the line. One time, Joey climbed about 100 feet into a tree by our driveway and put up a pulley system. Then he climbed down and climbed up another tree on the other side 100 feet up and put up some kind of pulley system. And we didn't think anything of it, but one time we were like coming home from a practice and like we're like, holy shit, Jimmy's dangling 100 feet. Joey had pulleyed Jimmy up 100 feet over our driveway. He was probably like 6. He had taken a swing off of our swing set and just pulleyed Jimmy up. Holy shit, Joey. He also ran me over with a 4-wheeler while we were growing up too. So. Then Tommy, the easiest, cheapest laugh I can get with Tommy and Jimmy. Again, Tommy, 8, 9 years older than Jimmy. Tommy invented a game with Jimmy called Tickle Token. And the extent of that game was he would basically just tickle Jimmy until he peed or cried. And it happened all the time. And then a little more risque, a great story about Robbie. When my mom used to babysit my cousin Vinny, and Jimmy are about the same age. And one time there was an accident on our toy slide. This is a number 2 accident. I guess accidents happen, but then like one day we noticed there was like, there was like paint and it had exploded, and my brother Robbie, for some reason, took a paintball gun and shot the number 2 all over the slide. So we had a lot of fun with Jimmy. I have fond memories of doing mutually fun things with Jimmy, like shooting him with paintball guns, shooting him with airsoft guns, tackling him, and we treated Jimmy really well as he grew up. A lot of great memories. But then, like typical guys, we went on to college, and when I left to college, I just left. I don't even think I waved goodbye. I just left. And so I kind of disappeared from Jimmy for a while, but as it turned out, I ended up not accomplishing my dreams. So like most people who do not accomplish their dreams, I became a teacher. And I ended up coaching, and Jimmy came to live with me and played on my team, so I actually got to become closer to Jimmy than I ever would have thought. And it was just an absolutely wonderful thing. So I'm going to take a lot of the credit for some of these great things, and I'll also take some of the blame or credit, depending on who you are. I sort of shaped, in my opinion, Jimmy's political views in our car rides. Jimmy and I would talk about everything in the car rides. We listened to a lot too, but we also talked. And one day the conversation was like, what would you do if you were president? And Jimmy has a great heart, and he says, like, I would give all the homeless people houses and food. I'm like, well, Jimmy, you could do that right now. You could get a job. You could start mowing the lawn and trimming the trees. I'll give you $20 an hour to do it. He goes, oh, okay. And then it was quiet. He goes, well, why don't the homeless people just trim the trees and mow the lawn? So I said, Jimmy, you're a Republican. Jimmy had to grow up with me at night, every night at 8 o'clock. We'd put on Tucker Carlson, we'd put on Sean Hannity, we'd shut the Xbox off, and that's what he got to grow up as a high school kid growing. So his political view, I take the credit for that or the blame. But I'm also going to take the credit for the way he looks. When Jimmy moved in with me, he couldn't bench the bar. When Jimmy moved out, Jimmy could do my max about 15 times. He became the strongest player, probably the strongest kid to ever graduate from that school, and it was incredible watching him grow up. Physically, everything. It was just such an honor. It was just a really great time. And as we did this, we became really good friends, and unfortunately I lost that job, and Jimmy left at the same time, and he left behind all of his friends, but most importantly, he sort of left behind this beautiful woman, but she stuck with him through thick and thin. Jimmy's been gone for like 4 years. Tori's stuck beside this kid. They love each other. This is a match made in heaven. You really outkicked your coverage, Jimmy. This is unbelievable. Jimmy kept his priorities straight. Tori has always been Jimmy's second love after the Xbox. I actually heard Jimmy the other day, Tori said, Jimmy, I know you love me, but do you love me more than Xbox? And he said, yes. I do love you a lot, Tori. I like Xbox a lot, but I love you more than PlayStation. A little advice from, I'm newly married, but being married is the second most amazing thing that's ever happened in my life after having a child. We're all a little bit different. Tori, you're very different. Jimmy, you're very different. Dr. Seuss says, marriage, we're all a little bit different in life, and life is a little bit different. And when you find someone whose differentness is compatible with our differentness, we join up with them and fall into mutually satisfying differentness together, and we call it marriage. My advice to you, Jimmy, my advice to you, Tori, let Jimmy make all the big decisions. Like, when is he going to take out the garbage, in the morning or at night? Jimmy, let Tori make the small decisions. Where are you going to live? What are you going to name your kids? When are you going to have your kids?
38.
So that's my advice. That's what happens in our house. It works out very well. The last thing I want to say, Tori, you recently lost your grandpa. John, Jimmy, a couple years ago lost our grandpa. They're both so proud of you guys. I know Grandpa is so proud of you. God made Tori for Jimmy. God made Tori for Jimmy and Jimmy for Tori. Let's raise a glass to Timmy and Tori. Thumbs up.